So, Hasbro's partnership with Gaming Global has everyone talking, and honestly, I get it. But are we angry at the right things? Today, I want to cut through all the outrage and the noise and dive into what's actually happening and what it means for D&D. I'm Josh, the Creator Bard. Welcome back to the tavern, where apparently now I'm playing the role of the barkeep and giving you all juicy gossip. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Wizards of the Coast just announced that they would be partnering with Gaming Global, an online casino, to put out D&D casino games to play in this online casino. Now, a lot of people are up in arms, and rightfully so, that WotC and Hasbro have stooped low enough to begin working with gambling companies that are feeding into the problem of gambling addiction. And I don't want to talk a little bit about all of this. When news broke about Hasbro teaming up with Gaming Global, it kind of set off a massive tidal wave of criticism. And let's be real, Hasbro is not the most loved company right now. But here's the thing, there is a lot of heat, and not all of it is aimed at the right target. Are gambling companies really inherently the issue, or is there something deeper that we need to be talking about? Today, I'm breaking down why this partnership isn't nearly as surprising as you might think, where the real problem is, and how we as a community can respond thoughtfully. And I may be opening up a massive can of worms, but let's get into it! First, let's address the elephant in the room. Hasbro is a corporation, okay? So Hasbro is going to be doing what corporations do. What do corporations do? They maximize profits for their shareholders. It is frustrating, but this move to team up with Gaming Global isn't shocking. It's exactly what you'd expect from a company trying to increase revenue. We've seen this pattern across industries, whether it's microtransactions in video games or branded partnerships in tabletop gaming. This isn't about betrayal, it's about business as usual. That's not to say we have to like it. Just because it's expected does not mean that it's something we just have to, get with the program. But then what do we do? Where are we supposed to focus this criticism? Because I want to make one thing very clear. We can blame Hasbro for a lot of things, and I'm about to jump into a little bit of that. But we shouldn't be blaming Hasbro for trying to make a profit. In one way or another, that's what we're all doing. That's what I'm doing as a creator. That's what plenty of other D&D TTRPG creators are doing. We need profit to survive. No, what we can and should criticize are the harmful business practices that Hasbro has utilized, which are leaving the rich rich and the poor poor. For instance, let's talk about the layoffs last year for Hasbro, laying off hundreds of employees while their executives didn't take a single pay cut. And that's not the only thing. Over-monetization and overpricing of D&D WotC products. The OGL debacle. The blatant lack of transparency. Quality control issues. Putting corporate growth over fans. Unhealthy labor practices at WotC. And there's plenty more, guys. Plenty. That's not just business. That's greed. And honestly, that gives us a lot to be frustrated about. This partnership alone is not inherently evil or anything, but it's part of a broader pattern of corporate behavior that needs accountability. Let's keep the conversation there instead of targeting every move they make out of frustration. Now, let's talk about gambling itself. The outrage I've seen at Gaming Global feels very misplaced because gambling isn't inherently the issue. It's the lack of resources and support for those struggling with addiction. A group of friends and I went to a Renaissance fair in Las Vegas just this past fall, and we hit up some casinos. We played some games. We didn't go out of our minds on the high of gambling. We didn't lose everything we had. And how many of us have never made a gentle person's wager amongst friends? Whether it was money, dares, or otherwise, we've all gambled in some form or another, so it's really not something that we need to attack like it's, the devil himself. Like with many addictions, the thing itself is almost never the issue. It is the overuse and abuse of that thing. And that comes from a lack of resources, a lack of support for those who struggle with the inability to keep themselves in control. Instead of demonizing gambling itself, or the companies that promote it, we should be advocating for better systems to help people affected by gambling addiction. That means more resources, more education, more accessible treatment options. And by shifting the focus of our criticism, we can begin addressing the real issue, not just the symptoms of it. And if this perspective resonates with you, if you enjoy this take, give me some Bardic inspiration by liking this video and consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps me continue making videos and perhaps continue bringing the voice of reason to the sea of chaos on topics like this. Back at it. So look, I get it. People are angry at Hasbro, and a lot of that frustration is entirely valid. But directing all that anger toward this partnership risks missing the bigger picture. We are not going to solve systemic issues like corporate greed or gambling addiction by lashing out. What we can do, however, is channel this frustration into constructive action, whether it's holding corporations accountable for their unfair practices or advocating for better addiction support systems. Because at the end of the day, the Hasbro Gaming Global partnership is just one move in a much larger game. It's okay to be frustrated, but let's focus on the right targets. Holding corporations accountable, advocating for resources that really matter. By shifting our perspective, we can create real change, not just more noise. And we can do it like we do everything else, together. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said I would wrap it back around and not only talk about the controversy, but what it means for D&D. And here's what I think it means for our tabletop gaming hobby. Nothing. Now, I don't mean that what Hasbro is doing here is not going to have ripple effects for the industry. But I'm not talking about the industry, I'm talking about the game. We do not need Wizards of the Coast, we do not need Hasbro, we do not need Gaming Global to have fun playing D&D. Whether you're moving forward with this, 2024, 2025, 5.5 thing that is being released, or whether you're still playing first edition at your table, it doesn't matter. You don't need the corporation of Wizards of the Coast to play that game. Heck, you don't need D&D to play fun and enjoyable tabletop games. Just this year, we've got Daggerheart coming out, as well as Draw Steel from the Matt Pack, Matt Mercer and Darrington Press, and Matt Colville and MCDM Productions. Not only that, but you've got hundreds, thousands of indie creators, small game publishing companies that are putting out RPGs like nobody's business. So if you really want to leave D&D, try some of those out. Don't leave the table, just leave the corporation. But whatever you choose to do, when you find what you like, play it and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Now let's hear your story. What do you think about the partnership? Put that lore drop in the comments. And if you want more thoughtful takes on D&D, the gaming world, or how we can tell the best stories together, check out my other videos. Till next time, guys. Gotta roll.